Alrighty, Carter. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Just wanted to get this video out to you just to kind of compare your swing to the guy on the bottom. His name is Mike Trout. Going to be a Hall of Famer someday. Really, really good hitter in Major League Baseball. Wanted to compare his swing to your swing real quick, just so we could take a look at kind of what our next steps are in our training progression, and as well just kind of talking about what are some things that we can continue to work on. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so a couple things first and foremost. One thing I want to talk about first, we're going to talk about his base, okay? I want you to take a look at his footwork, though. Take a look. If I were to, even there, right, if you notice, his feet are squared up, right? If I were to stop here, if you're going to notice, my back foot's facing this way, my front foot's facing this way, and that's even before we get into this action foot, right, into our back action point here, right? So one thing to continue to work on, right, is are we squared up to the plate? Are we in a good starting position, right? Because with us starting with our foot back like this, what it makes us susceptible to is to go back with our knee, just like how we do a little bit in this video, where we kind of try to go backwards on it, right? Now, one thing you do really, really good, Carter, is you load really well in this knee, right? That is one thing you do really, really well. The problem is what I don't want you to do is to go two steps forward or backwards to go one step forward, right? We're trying to instead how Trout does it here, right? If you notice with his back leg here, all he's doing, he is loading into that back leg, not going backwards, but loading into it to go forward, right? So with that being said, if you notice too, one thing that you do actually really, really well is you actually keep pretty good balance on contact point between both feet. The problem is after contact is when you start lifting everything, right? So those are the couple things I really want to work on your bottom half with, is just continuing to work on keeping the right pressure on your feet and also your setup, right? Because I actually really like your hips and how they work. We have right here is what we call hip-shoulder separation. If we were to take a look in this position right now, you are in the exact same position here to Mike Trout here. But the upper half here, what you're about to see, is where it turns different. Take a look real quick at your elbow, right? Take a look at your elbow, take a look at Trout's. Trout connects his elbow back into his rib cage, right? If we take a look at your elbow, what your elbow does, Carter, is it leads your bat through your swing. Now, you do a really good job of getting back on plane because, take a look at your swing right here. Your body kind of halts itself in place, right? And the reason I say that is take a look at Trout's real quick, right? While Trout gets in a position here, he's never stopping, right? It's almost kind of like your body hits pause right here, right? If you're trying to see what I mean, through Trout's swing, take a look. If I were to put a straight line where all of his weight is, it's towards the center of his body, right? Versus if we check on yours is towards the back part of your body, right? That's what I mean by you stopping in your swing, right? Is you get here and then all your weight stays on your back, right? Additionally, when we talk about your top half here, and this is something we talked about in your lesson, watch what your wrists do. Your wrists get here, they're firm, and then right here, they snap. And that is how you're getting back on timing as well, because if you were to keep your wrist firm, your barrel would be late to the baseball and going to right field, right? The reason we don't want to snap our wrist whenever we hit is because we lose power, and it's also not great because what could happen a lot of times is if we flick, most of the time, more times than not, we're actually going to take this ball towards our left side, right? Versus if you watch Trout's wrist, Trout never breaks his wrists. All he does is keep them firm and keeps them through the baseball, right? So that's something I want to continue to work on. There's a really, really good thing that we can use that we're going to use in our lesson tomorrow that we're going to kind of see, and I'll kind of show you what it kind of feels like to break our wrists and how we know when we're doing it right versus when we're doing it wrong, okay? So those are a couple things in your swing that I really want to adjust because I like I like the way your hips work. I like your explosiveness. But I feel like from this point, from here, we have a great swing. And then here, there's a disconnect of where we're losing a ton of power and a ton of momentum in your swing that I think we could really fix, right? So that too, and if you take a look, we get to this point right here, and our back leg two stops. Take a look real quick. So it gets here, and it just stops in place. Versus Trout's keeps on going, right? It may stop in place necessarily, like when it gets to this action point, but it's continuing to go. It's continuing to utilize itself, right? So those are a couple things in your swing that I just want to continue to work on. And those are some things that we'll continue to tweak. But otherwise, really great job, Carter, and looking forward to the next lesson.